This module will give you a brief introduction to Claroty's Continuous Threat Detection, or CTD solution, including details on CTD's overall value proposition and positioning within the cybersecurity solutions market. The most obvious and important question to ask at this stage is, what is CTD? Briefly, CTD is a cybersecurity monitoring system that provides agentless security for OT networks. It does this by providing real-time visibility of the protected system's hardware asset complement, and also into the system's structure and communication flows and protocols. CTD's visibility, features, and functionality are also designed to make network segmentation tasks much easier than is typical. Also, CTD alerts its users to known and unknown security-related incidents, both in past time and in real time. Using CTD, you can quickly detect and intercept risks to industrial operations, increase a system's cyber resiliency, and minimize periods of unplanned downtime. CTD was specifically designed to provide capabilities that allow its operators to prevent damage to physical processes and industrial equipment, as well as preventing the injury and death of personnel. CTD reduces management costs because the hardware and software can be quickly deployed and scaled across multiple operational sites. It was also designed to complement pre-existing cybersecurity and telemetric applications used by companies and organizations by being able to integrate with things like CM, log management, asset management, and ticketing systems. Being able to integrate CTD with existing security tools in this way provides Security Operations Center, or SOC teams, with increased real-time alerting and threat hunting capabilities. This allows SOC operators to more easily monitor their industrial network and identify network vulnerabilities with more accuracy and effectiveness. Altogether, this saves time and improves cyber resiliency. CTD is built around 4 functional pillars that explain how Claroty is able to collect and work with data from process control environments. These 4 pillars are Reveal, Protect, Detect, and Connect. The most basic notion behind the Reveal pillar is that it implies asset visibility. The easiest way to explain why asset visibility is important is that you can't protect assets if you don't know that they're present within your system. Also, depending on your situation, you may need to know what is present in the system from the point of view of maintenance requirements, legal compliance, or quality standards. Staying with and expanding on the theme of Claroty's 4 functional pillars, they can be used to clarify the ways in which the operational technology, or OT sector, has grown beyond its capability to be protected by traditional IT-focused cybersecurity solutions. If we explain the existing OT cybersecurity situation in terms of how OT and IoT have evolved and the new security requirements that have been identified as being desperately needed, but have not yet been fully implemented to protect them, we can explain what we have and what we need to protect it in 4 points. In terms of visibility into assets and networks, we currently have a situation in which production-level hardware assets communicate with each other and across OT networks using proprietary protocols that traditional IT security solutions can't penetrate. On top of that, we also have emerging technologies using new communication methods that increase the existing IT-OT security gap even more. We have a situation where the boundaries between each layer of the traditional Purdue model are increasingly blurred. That needs network segmentation that usually isn't present. All this can be countered by increasing the amount of visibility into brownfield, that is OT-centric, and greenfield, that is IoT and IIoT-centric assets, network communications, and process. When we talk about protection of those assets and networks, we're forced to deal with limited understanding of the inherent security risks within OT environments, especially from security personnel who are more used to the security situation in IT. This includes gaps in understanding regarding existing controls that can be used to counter existing and future OT and IoT targeted threats. Also, personnel who are trained in traditional IT cybersecurity often lack understanding on how to prioritize corrective actions and implement the correct risk mitigation strategies. What is most needed in this area is education, tools, and strategies that allow cybersecurity staff to appreciate and accurately determine the inherent risks posed by OT assets, to prioritize and then carry out risk mitigation actions, and to understand and increase organization-wide understanding of any residual risks after the correct controls have been implemented. When it comes to detecting OT, IoT, and IIoT-related security threats, security personnel and the upper-level management who control their budgets need to take different factors into account. This includes things like opportunistic attacks that originate from viruses, trojans, ransomware, and other threats that are still active and remain hidden within company networks. It may include criminal cyber attacks that target specific industries and market verticals for financial gain, or even cyber attacks that originate from or are sponsored by rogue nation states with the goal of gaining tactical or strategic advantage. What's needed to counter these influences is effective monitoring for early signs of attack and the ability to establish a detection model that can predict as many different attack vectors as possible, with the goal of proactively guarding the gates. Connection and interconnectedness, specifically between an organization's IT and OT sectors, is also an ongoing problem. As I mentioned earlier, traditional IT security tools don't have native visibility into OT environments. And although OT-focused decision-makers need a comprehensive view of security risks at enterprise, that is, at corporate level, they often don't get it. The solutions to these particular problems are to provide a way to connect new generation OT security measures into the existing IT security architecture, and provide a comprehensive view of often misunderstood OT-related risks to executive-level decision-makers. As we saw a little earlier, CTD is built around 4 functional pillars, which are reveal, detect, protect, and connect. You can't protect assets if you don't know they're part of your system. So this is where CTD begins to protect a system. Let's break the process of gaining device visibility down into logical steps. Whether passive asset detection or active asset detection are used, CTD starts by identifying the hardware assets that make up the system. The process of identifying hardware assets includes gathering advanced details and metadata from each device. CTD then uses the incoming data to build a detailed hardware database. In the process of sniffing communications traffic between hardware assets that are part of the system, CTD also logs the type and direction of communication between all hardware assets that do communicate. This allows CTD to build a detailed map of the physical network. Based on algorithms that analyze each device type, its communication pattern, and the communication protocol it uses, CTD assigns each device to a specific level within a standard hierarchical model called the Purdue model. This allows CTD to accurately decide where in the network each device belongs and what the device's role is within the overall system. Next, CTD divides the network into a number of what are called virtual zones. This is part of a process called virtual segmentation, which the user will take advantage of to impose zone rules on each virtual zone. Zone rules are firewall-like rules that take no action if communications are authorized, or generate a relevant alert that warns operators if a communication is thought to be suspicious. As CTD monitors the network's behavior, it creates a list of behavioral baselines. These are standards of behavior to which CTD refers when deciding if a network-related action is normal and must be allowed, or is part of a potential threat and must be flagged. If any network behavior deviates from an accepted baseline, an alert is generated by CTD to warn the user. Before explaining how CTD's visibility section works, we must know what visibility means in context of Claroty and its products. OT hardware installations are complicated and have a tendency to get larger and more complicated with time. Before a CTD installation, many hardware asset-related statistics may have been unknown to the user or system owner, and this may have resulted in the user or owner not knowing that some hardware assets were there. The CTD Visibility Overview window addresses this problem by giving a detailed look into the state of the connected system's IT, OT, and ICS environments. This includes the complete asset inventory, overall network health, and OT processes. I said earlier that the most basic notion behind Claroty's Reveal pillar is that it implies visibility. This is important because no one can protect assets if they don't know they're there. The reason asset and network visibility is so important in context of CTD is that it's the essential first step in so many of the functions that allow CTD to establish and maintain a secure environment. Effective vulnerability management starts with clear visibility of all your network devices and into the operational life cycle of the plant. It brings a number of continuous processes together to identify weaknesses within an ICS, networking, and other structures, and strengthen your system by systematically eliminating those weaknesses. In terms of threat detection, OT environments are typically not built with security in mind. They are unique in their functionality and infrastructure, and that kind of uniqueness presents more risk to their security posture than in an IT network, which is typically well protected according to established standards. This is particularly true in terms of technical aspects, but it can also be true in terms of human factors. Visibility lays the foundation for reliable threat intelligence. This is because when OT security staff are aware of the full complement of assets in a system, the next logical step is to check the asset metadata to see if firmware versions are current and to start eliminating known common vulnerabilities and exposures among the device complement. Risk management also benefits by allowing the organization's OT security staff to detect asset and networking changes in real time and make quick, informed decisions about whether those changes are beneficial or are the product of a threat actor. Finally, enhanced visibility lays the foundation for secure remote access into the overall system. It does this by giving operations staff in the plant more awareness of the relative criticality and risks posed by each device in relation to every other device. Operational staff are focused on safety and availability and on making sure that the people who need access can get it. They don't want to, and shouldn't have to, deal with slow change management procedures every time someone new needs access. They also need to be able to react fast in emergencies. It is actually in the best interest of both teams to make sure that their organization establishes control over remote OT access. CTD generates threat alerts based on anomalies, rules, threat signatures, and operational behaviors using proprietary Claroty algorithms. The first of these is the Behavioral Anomalies Detector. This generates alerts according to baseline deviations. Baselines are behavioral norms generated from CTD's observations of the protocols and communications used in the system. So, a baseline deviation is behavior that doesn't match the collection of traffic patterns CTD has learned. In practice, this translates into alerts on aspects like network changes, zero-day exploits, deviations from communication policy rules, and so on. The second algorithm is the signature-based detector. This works according to Yara and Snort rules and other rule-based approaches, such as network traffic rules, where deviation from a defined rule triggers an alert. CTD's threat database also includes signatures provided by Claroty's research and development team. These alert users to zero-day vulnerabilities under our formal disclosure network traffic rules. Users can also create their own rules and can manually disable any threat signatures if they need to. The third algorithm is the Security Behavior Pattern Detector. This detects non-security attacks such as man-in-the-middle and network scans. It also alerts on IT pattern security behaviors such as tag and address scans. The fourth algorithm is the Operational Behavioral Pattern Detector. This picks up sensitive OT-related activities such as configuration file downloads and uploads, controller mode changes, key state changes, and firmware upgrades. It also combats OT-targeted attacks and sophisticated payloads. It flags OT operations that occur within the network over any communications protocol, allowing you to make informed decisions and take actionable steps based on your company's change management process. The fifth algorithm is the rule-based threat detector. This generates alerts based on custom criteria that operators create to target specific events. For example, an operator could create a rule that flags out-of-range values or that flags communications that are considered suspicious. We've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time.